Okay, I think I'm live. Am I live? It says I'm live. Okay, I think I'm doing it. I think I'm live. I'm not quite sure, but I think so. I think I'm live. All right. So, hey everybody, what's going on? I am live on the Facebook and the Instagram all at the same time, I think. Technology is definitely my biggest area of improvement. However, I did vow that in 2021, I was not going to let it be the reason I did not advance in my things. You know what I mean? Like, do you have one of those? Something that's kind of blocked you as you've been growing. And then you're like, you know what? I'm going to stop saying that I'm not good at it because that's just reinforcing that idea. So I'm going to actually commit to improving it. Okay. Even though it is not my strongest suit, that is okay. I get help where I need help and then I learn where I learn. So I think I am live. Anyway, excited to have you here. I've had a lot of new followers coming in here recently to both Facebook and to Instagram. And so I just wanted to come on and kind of reintroduce myself and talk a little bit about motivation. Since it is Monday and, there's that Motivation Monday that goes around. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. But first, I'm Julianne Kirkland. I am a wife of one and a mom of six. I am an overcomer strategist. I help women arise from the overwhelm to create a joyful life that they love. And people ask, well, what does an overcomer strategist do? Well, I work with you one-on-one to actually help you strategize how to overcome your obstacles, right? And I get a lot of, okay, well, what is it? Like, what's the one thing you solve? I'm like, cool. Do you only have one problem in your life? And that's the truth is that it's not about solving a specific problem for every single person. It's using the strategies that I know work to then help you implement them into your life to overcome whatever obstacle it is that you're facing. So it's not all about solving one problem. I do have different courses and stuff like that for specific areas of improvement, right? Like I mostly work with ambitious moms, women who are high achieving and just have a great deal of ambition in their life. And so those are the ones that I typically work with most. And one of the main pillars that we work on is productivity and time management, because the number one complaint I hear is I don't have time. And it's easy to say that. In fact, this weekend, my husband said it a lot. And it's so, have you ever noticed that? Like, you're living something out and then your spouse or your sibling or your best friend or whatever is doing the opposite of what you're saying and you're like, do you not listen to anything that I say? It's fine. But anyway, so he kept saying this weekend, there's just not enough time in the day. There's just not enough time in the day. I'm like, well, there's all 24 hours. Like, we each get 24 hours. It's just how you're choosing to spend it. You know what I mean? Like, you want to sit down and watch a show on a Saturday or watch the Super Bowl on Sunday night. That's cool, but that's time. Like, that's time that you're choosing to spend doing that over something else, right? So again, it's all 24 hours. It's just in how you choose to spend it. So I work with women in productivity and time management. And then the second main pillar that I work with is all about mindset. And no, I'm not just like a mindset coach, because I've learned the hard way that when this isn't right up here, nothing else seems to go right out there. Right. And it's as simple as the thoughts that we think produce how we feel, and how we feel leads us to either take action or not to take action. And in doing so, taking action or not taking action is going to cause us to get the result that either we wanted or we didn't want. right? And that's just like a principle of life. It's like gravity. Okay. You can say that you don't believe that that's how it is, and that's fine. But if I push you off a roof, you're going to fall to the ground because gravity exists. You know what I mean? It's the same thing, right? Our thoughts produce our feelings. Our feelings produce our action, and our action produces the results that we want. And so, if any area in your life you're not getting the results you want, you have to start looking back at that. Okay, what action did I take? Or what action did I not take? Right? And if you're not taking action, it's why. Why didn't I take that action? Right? And then it's, oh, because I felt this way about it. Well, what caused you to feel that way? Like, what thoughts were coming through your head? And it's so easy for us to talk about how we feel. That's a big thing going on right now, right? The mood that we're in, the vibe that we're in, it's all about how we feel. We'll talk about our feelings all day long, but our emotions and our feelings aren't going to drive our results that we want, right? So that's where I wanted to talk about motivation, because I had a client of mine the other day and she was like, I'm not motivated. I'm burnt out. I'm like, no, you're not. You're tired. Like, you've been traveling. You're not burnt out. You're resting. Okay. Now you've rested. Now it's time to show up. Because to continue to say things like, I'm not motivated, you're just reinforcing that idea for yourself, and you're not going to show up. You're not always going to be motivated. You know, I'm not motivated ever to do laundry, ever. But I have to do it, right? I have to be disciplined to do it because the motivation isn't there. That doesn't excite me. I don't want to do that. And so you have to develop a discipline behind trying to achieve whatever goal that you want to achieve, because motivation is not always going to be there. You're always not going to feel like it. So when you're not feeling like it, that's when you have to rely on the discipline that you've created, right? When you have a good system, when you have a successful system that works, that's good, you don't always have to be so good. You don't always have to be on. You know, when you're following your system, you can just follow the system. You don't have to try and figure things out, right? And that's why I love being a coach. I love working with a coach. I love working in masterminds and being a part of a community that works together, that we encourage one another. But then it's like, okay, when that goes away, when I don't feel good, when I don't feel like I can do it, there's been the system that's worked. It's worked for this person, it's worked for this person, it's worked for this person, it's worked for this person. So why can't it work for me? And you follow the system. And the thing is, down to the very bones of success, a success system, they're all very similar. No matter, who you're looking at, they're all very, very similar. The cool part is the person or the people that are teaching the system and the perspective that they bring to it, right? Like last year, at the end of last year, I was in two separate masterminds. I was in a women's only mastermind that is faith in business. And then I was a part of another mastermind that, it went across everybody. It was just mostly for entrepreneurs. And at the core of the systems they were teaching to help propel business forward, they were the same, right? I mean, even Mark Twain said there's no such thing as new content. That was Mark Twain. That was a long time ago. But what they were able to do was bring in their perspective, to bring in their experience, right? So I get fed in different ways from being a part of different groups. There's not one way to achieve your goal. There's a lot of different ways. Some ways might take longer. Some ways might take shorter. And that's the beauty of finding the right group to work with or the right coach to work with. Is the whole purpose is to reduce the amount of time it takes you to get from point A to point B, reduce the amount of pain it takes you to get from point A to point B, right? And help you get there faster and with less pain, and just create an all-around better experience for you. Okay? And again, so what they've taught me is that when motivation is low, discipline has to be high. That's why Tony Robbins does a cold plunge every day. He goes and he gets in a really cold tub pool thing, because he's teaching his brain that the brain does what I tell it to do. You know, he says, not one morning is my body like, yeah, let's go freeze. It'll be great. It'll be so good. I'm going to just love it. No, every single time his brain's like, I want to, it's cold. But he's in charge. He's in charge of his brain. And so he says, no, this is what we're going to do today. And then he does it. And it's training his brain so that even though it can still start to combat him, it doesn't do it as much and as intense as it once did when he first started. And so if you find yourself lacking in motivation, look at what you're thinking about. What are you thinking about? Because if you're lacking in motivation, I would bet you're thinking about you're not where you want to be yet. Other people are getting there faster than you, right? So you're starting to compare. You feel like you haven't come as far as you wanted to, and you just feel like, what's the point? What am I doing? And sorry, I had to clear that. So if you're lacking motivation, it's because you're thinking about the things that aren't happening for you, right? Perhaps you've been disappointed by something. Perhaps you've left that go unchecked, and now that disappointment has turned to discouragement. And then letting that go unchecked, that discouragement turns to depression, right? If we don't keep our brains in check, I just did a podcast episode on this. If we don't keep our brains in check, that's our brains not in check is like a toddler in the bathroom, unsupervised. Like nothing good is going to come from that, my friends. Not one thing, right? If you have kids, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Nothing good comes from a toddler being left in the bathroom unattended, right? It's just disastrous. It's the same thing with our brain. If we just let it kind of go and do its thing, it's not going to do the discipline thing. It's going to do the thing where it gets to sit down and chill because it wants to save calories and work as efficiently as possible. It's not going to want to do the stuff that challenges you. So you have to be in control of your mind. And that's why mental wellness is so important. And I'm a part of a network marketing team that is all on mental wellness. We're the only one out there right now that is solely focused on mental wellness because it's so important. If this isn't right, then nothing else is going to be right. You can have every system, every plan, every whatever in place, but if this isn't right, nothing else is going to, nothing else is going to be right. You know? And sorry, I got squirreled. But it's not, you have to be intentional about keeping your brain healthy and your mind healthy because they're two separate things, right? You have the actual organ, which is your brain, and then you have your mind, okay? And they both require different things. But if your actual organ brain is not properly nourished and taken care of, then your mind isn't going to think right. And so that's why I have partnered with this network marketing company. And it's so interesting when people are like, oh, is that an MLM? Is that a pyramid scheme? I'm like, look, okay, this isn't 20 years ago when like pyramid schemes were this huge big thing, okay? Network marketing is the exact same as telling your friend, oh, hey, I got this at Target. You should go get it. It's awesome. I love it so much. It's comfortable. It's soft. I love the color. It brings out my eyes. You should go try it. It's so good. I love it. And then your friend goes to Target. Okay? The difference is I didn't get paid by Target for referring my friend to this awesome hoodie that I got at the Target, right? And it's the same thing. It's using your network. I mean, there's people that sell stuff on Amazon. Why is that any different? Why, if I say, okay, I thought I had one in here. I take mood every single day. It's a supplement that helps with my mood. It helps stabilize my mood, okay? I'm not having to take my ADHD medication because of it. I'm not having to take pharmaceutical drugs because I'm able to take this instead, okay? And it's interesting that people are like, oh, I'm not going to get that because it's an MLM. I'm like, it works the same no matter who it comes from. Like, why would you rather go on Amazon and buy it? You know what I mean? It's just, that always gets me curious. Like, if I can support another mom's business by buying from her, hells yeah, I'm going to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I think more women need to be supporting more women in their endeavors. It's hard to do a business. It's hard to stay in business. It's hard to gain momentum. It's hard to do all those things. And I am 100% for other entrepreneurs. Okay. My editor, her daughter made earrings and she was selling them because she wanted to buy an iPad. I bought the earrings, right? Because I love that. She should know that, yes, girl, when you have an idea and you want to put it out to the world like that, there will be people who will support you 100%. You know, so don't be afraid to go out there and invest in yourself and believe in yourself, because there are people out there that will believe in you and that will support you and they'll come alongside of you, right? It's finding those right people, and they might not always be in your immediate circle. You know, I've made some incredible friendships this past year from being in my masterminds with people I have never met in person. And they know some of the deepest stuff about me because they allow me to be vulnerable before them. And I allow them to be vulnerable before me. There's that exchange of value. We hold each other accountable because we get to see each other for who we really are. You know, so I want to encourage you that if you're feeling your motivation is low, I want you to know that it's because of what's happening up here. Okay. And so the next step you do is think about what you're thinking about. Like, it's time to become aware of what's going on in your mind. Okay. And then write all those thoughts down, unfiltered. Just write them down. Get it out of your mind, because trying to solve the problem that's in your mind does not work. That's where the problem is, my friend. You can't solve it up here. That's where the problem is, right? Get it down. Look at it. Take an outside perspective and look at it. Write all those thoughts down. Okay. And then right beside that, write down what those thoughts make you feel. Okay. And then write down what actions you have to take in order to get the result that you want. And even if the thought that's in your head is a negative one, even if it's a challenging one, even if it's an obstacle, okay, write it down anyway. Acknowledge it as what it is. Because when you start to acknowledge all those obstacles and you start to create a path to get over them, that's your roadmap, my friend. That's your roadmap to your success that you were just able to create yourself, because you stopped trying to solve it up here, because that's where the problem is. And you took it out and you wrote it down and you looked at it and you were able to see it logically. Okay? Emotions are important and they matter and they're beautiful things. But they will prevent you from achieving everything that you have your heart set on achieving if you don't have discipline in play. Okay? Because there's going to be days where you don't feel like it. And on those days, you still have to figure out a way to show up. Right? And instead of waiting until that day where you don't feel like it, then trying to figure out how you're going to show up, that's where the discipline comes into play, because you already have a plan for that. You're ready. You just work your plan. Right? I hope this was helpful. I hope that it encouraged you on this Motivation Monday. And if you have any questions, please let me know. I am more than happy to talk with you about it over a messenger, or you can drop a comment below. I'm super happy to respond to you in the feed. No problem with that either. I hope y'all have a great Monday, and I'll talk to you later. Now I got to figure out how to end this thing because I'm all on my computer.